Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mast, and welcome back to the second weekly showcase of my work-in-progress mod list, SkyRend. If you guys are new to the mod list, if you didn't see the first showcase and you're curious, you're interested, I recommend checking out the video before this one, because it went over a lot of the basics of the list, everything that's already implemented so far, at least as of a week ago. So in this video today, we're just going to be going over new stuff, not over a bunch of the fundamental concepts of the list and stuff like that. Like, we're not even really going to be getting into combat with this one. So first thing to show off, new little main menu here. How clean is this, man? I really like this. So we'll hop on in. There aren't a lot of new mods. I think there are only actually like 30, 40 total new mods so far that have been added over the course of the week. But there are a lot of concepts that have been implemented that are really cool. I'm doing a lot of customization right now. Some of it's implemented, most of it still is going to need more time to be finished. But I think it's really promising. No sort of stuff has been changed to bodies. These are still going to get some more work done eventually, but right now I'm not really worried about it. So let's just hop in here. All right, and now that we've got the MCMs loaded up, first little miscellaneous thing that got added, we actually got a voiced alternate perspective. And we also actually, one thing I literally just added this morning, we've got a new font going too, which is making Edge UI look a lot cleaner. So there's some small tweaks I've worked in. As far as the showcase is concerned, I think this is the start we did last time, just kind of head on over to the Sleeping Giant Inn. Welcome. So the big thing to talk about here, if I go ahead and level myself up a little bit, let's go ahead and do 1,000 and we'll level up. I have done a lot of customization so that we are getting new perk trees. We are getting new like attribute levels up as you level up in Skyrim. So normally in Skyrim, you can choose 10 points to put into a category of your choice, health, stamina, magicka. And then with my race mod, which we already had last time, as a Nord, we have these unique stats right now. So now pay attention to the bottom. If I want to level health here, I will still get the 10 health. I will also get 5 in magicka and stamina. And this might need some balancing, but I think it's a really cool concept. It's something I'm looking forward to doing, and it's basically guaranteed gonna last. The only question is how strong is it gonna stay? Because as of right now, that means total, you are getting a 20 stat boost compared to a 10 stat boost like you get in vanilla. But then again, I feel like the vanilla stat boost doesn't actually feel all that strong. Normally perks feel a lot stronger. So this makes level ups as far as attributes is concerned are gonna get buffed. And then if it is feeling too OP, then I could just tone it down with numbers. I could make it like you gain 8 and then 4 in the side categories and stuff like that. So the idea with this change is that leveling up overall, you consistently get stronger, and it makes it so that diverse builds are going to just be stronger than they normally are in vanilla Skyrim and other modded Skyrim setups. It's super annoying to play something that is stamina focused but needs health to survive, or to place like a spell blade. There are so many things where as far as level up attributes, you get really punished by having such limited options through the normal system. So now just as a whole, you are just simply going to get stronger each level up, and then you can still specify what you want to lean into. So if you're going to play heavily stamina, do like some sort of berserker build, tons of power attacks, you can still spec into stamina extra just like normal. If you want to play more of a tank, you can do health. If you want to play a mage, you can still do magicka. So you're still getting the main skill is still leveling up just as much, but those sides are getting a nice boost to go with it. And the biggest thing is going to stand out is if you are doing something that's super stamina focused or super magicka focused, your health goes up to some degree with it, and you're not just feeling like you're falling behind, which is really cool. So aside from that, let's go ahead and do a little leveling into this tree here. I've got it set up right now. This isn't going to be the normal late game balance for it or anything, but we can just like put up pretty much as many points as we want in right now. So let's get one-handed up to around 70, and then we'll just throw some levels in health. And again, you'll see every level here, if we're just choosing health each time, we're going to get 10 in health and then 5 in the others. If we do stamina, we'll get 10 in stamina, 5 in the others. If we're doing magicka, obviously same thing, right? And then I can balance NPCs to get the same things too, so it's not like the player has to out-level NPCs there. But if we look at the perk trees here, right now you're mostly going to see boring vanilla perk trees. What is this? Wait a minute, what is this? Or this? So I have something cooking right now that I am super excited about. It is by far the thing that I have spent most of my time on so far, between the last showcase and this one, is I am implementing straight up perk overhauls to change the way that combat feels. Anything melee oriented, armor oriented is going to be very different. I was a bit inspired by Requiem's system with evasion, was kind of the original thing for agility and what would normally be heavy armor. But because Requiem has evasion, we're going to have agility, we're going to have endurance, those are going to replace light armor and heavy armor. Stances is replacing two-handed, and weaponry is going to be one-handed and two-handed in the same perk tree. So originally, this thing right here, I was working on the one-handed perk tree. I came up with this idea literally last night, and I have just chucked it together very quick. A lot of the perks so far in these perk trees are empty. They're just descriptions. They're just kind of laid out how they will be, and they're going to have a lot of tweaks to come. But let's take a little look, probably honestly with agility to start, and look at some of the ideas. So I'll have some of these marked empty. Some of these I forgot to mark empty. Anything that's not in the weaponry perk tree is just kind of there. But I do know how to do, I think, literally everything as far as any of these perk descriptions. It just takes a lot more time to actually make it than to write it down, right? So the idea with agility is you're going to have extra movement going into this tree. This will affect one-handed, two-handed, bows, all sorts of different stuff. So the starting perk is going to be quick hands. You get to attack faster. Each time you're leveling, I kind of don't want to spend the perk points right now. Each time you're leveling this up, it'll go up 5% attack speed. Over here, we've got moving draw, which is going to be for bows. So you'll be able to move faster with a bow drawn. There will be a lot to come with any of these perk trees. So none of these are necessarily cemented. And just because you see a limited amount of perks does not mean you won't see like more play styles and more diverse options even early on down here towards the bottom in the future. This is just for the moment. So this one's really cool. This one has crazy potential. Reposition unlocks apprentice level dodges. The idea here is to have a very weak poor dodge at novice level, but you do have dodges just immediately to start the game. This will unlock the kind of generic TK dodge that'll be relatively slow. Again, I'm not planning on adding immunity frames to dodges like you would get in a normal list. So dodges will not have the inherent Dark Souls playstyle, I dodge at the right time, I dodge everything. It's going to be about creating space. Adept level will probably have, I think it's the smooth moveset dodges, and then expert level, I don't remember what these dodges are called. There's a very nice, very satisfying quick step dodge that will come at expert level, and maybe there'll even be a master level one, with the idea here being as you level up dodging, you can be a lot more adept at quickly maneuvering, repositioning in combat, and basically as a dodge gets better, you'll either be gaining extra distance or extra dodge speed or both, and unlocking new animations that do that, which will be really cool. Over here, we've got some movement perks, just straight up increasing move speed. Again, normally if there's multiple, that just means it's going to go up the same amount each rank. And then sprinter is going to be for sprinting, not just regular move speed. So that'll stack on top. Here I've got an interesting idea. This will have a little bit of overlap with the weaponry perk tree because I built the weaponry. I was working on it. That's the one that actually has a bunch of its perks implemented so far. But I decided, wait a minute, it would actually be really cool to put this in agility and then focus more on the weapons themselves for weaponry. So I think I'm going to end up doing that going forward. But balanced footwork unlocks power attacks, with the idea being you need agility at a certain level to be able to perform these maneuvering power attacks. You still can do normal power attacks, like standing power attacks you'll just have automatically, but like the forwards charging power attacks you'll unlock this way. If we did put perk points into this, you'd see at the next level, which is just 30, you get backwards power attacks, and then at the level after that, which is 40, you get sideways power attacks, going in the order of what's going to be like the most difficult to maneuver. Serpent Strike unlocks sprinting normal attacks. And then over here in Saber Cat's Pounce unlock sprinting power attacks. These are kind of separate, but at a similar level. And then they go into a different type of perk tree, different style of play, where if you're going for sprinting normal attacks, and we unlock this beyond it, sprinting normal attacks ignore 40% of armor and receive an additional 25% chance to crit. The idea of it being kind of a piercing, quick, tactics type of attack. And then momentum for the forwards or for the sprinting power attack. I forgot that I made it for both, for directional and sprinting power attacks, dealing just additional power attack damage, making that more of your play style, where it's kind of using the weight, using the speed of the attack and adding on to it. So that's what I've got so far for the agility tree. There will be more to come. It's definitely not finished or anything yet. None of these are. I think let's hop over to endurance first, or well, next. The idea with the endurance tree is to be stamina focused, weight focused, and defensively oriented. So with all of these, one thing I probably should have said sooner, I kind of implied for anybody familiar with Requiem that it was going to work this way, is that we're going to be overhauling armor. So perks do not contribute to armor. At least it's very likely that any will. Maybe, actually, I guess there will be a few here and there that'll do like a little bit, but normally it will not scale armor. You might get some occasional perks in different trees that straight up give you a flat boost to armor. But instead we'll focus on reducing stamina penalties, which will mostly be added in. Like there will be at least small stamina penalties for like attacking and stuff like that, bow drawing, obviously power attacks have it in vanilla. And then armor weight is going to play a bigger role, and that will get reduced in endurance as well. But armor itself will be similar to Requiem, where light armor provides a pretty inherent amount of protection, but not a ton. Heavy armor provides quite a bit more. You don't really level up the armor ratings. They just kind of exist as they are, because believe it or not, you just kind of put armor on and it works. And then it really comes down to the comfort and your ability to maneuver in it. So agility and endurance are focused on that, where armor kind of does what it does, but with these, you're more effective at moving around, maneuvering, stuff like that with them. So with this drawing a bow, costs less stamina. Endurance is very stamina focused for the most part for firm draw. Balance of power, bashes and power attacks cost 15% less stamina. So you can level that up, get up way cheaper stamina penalties in general. Steadfast reduces incoming stagger damage. That'll be a good thing as we get a stagger overall in. We're probably going to be using Maxu's Poise. Marathon Runner, sprinting stamina cost is reduced by 45%. There's 2 ranks to this, so I didn't want to make it so it's literally free. But when you get the second rank of this, if you do decide to do this, it's not by 90%, so it'll be very close to free. I think the idea of just literally sprinting till the end of time is a little bit silly, but it'll still be kind of close. Fortitude, this is a cool one. This is actually inspired by Deadlock over on my main channel. There's an item in Deadlock where once you've been out of combat for a little while, you start regenerating at a pretty rapid rate. The idea with this one is kind of if you're going through a dungeon, you're getting low. That simply, if your health is below 50%, you regenerate 1% of your max health per second. And then if you get the second rank, it doubles it to 2% per second. So, and this just simply activates if your health is below 50%. The idea being you're not just magically full healing your health bar, but if you're getting beat up, whether it's in the middle of the fight and it's still going on, or you've just gotten out of the fight, it's a way to just kind of consistently be like in this battle-worn state where you can keep going. And you'll keep healing up to that point, but you won't just be like full HP. From there, you'll have to take potions, use healing spells, whatever it may be. But I thought was kind of a cool idea. It's a pretty strong heal. 1% per second is quite a bit, especially if you double it to 2%. And then Resilient is where this expires for now. I still have to work out the top part up here. All of these, I've literally been putting these perk trees together. I think the one-handed / weaponry one, I think, was more than a few days ago. Everything else has been like last 2 days. So I've had very limited time to work on these, and they're not fully set up yet. But Resilient, magic resistance increased by 10%. Plan is to get it to 20 and 30% with these 3 ranks right here. I'm loving the font, man. I put the font on this morning. It looks really good. Makes Edge UI look so much better. So with those shown, let's show the most scuffed one. I threw it together this morning. I probably spent 30 minutes on it. I think it's really cool, though. So the idea with this idea I'm pretty sure came to me last night. I'd already been planning to have stances implemented into the mod list. The idea with this that makes it different is this is technically, as you can see by the art, by the description, this is technically the 2-handed tree. Don't worry, we'll be able to get rid of the art. We'll be able to get rid of the description, make it something that fits it more properly. Although honestly, I don't know, the arts may be fine. The art actually looks pretty good, but I can change the description super easy. So stances tree is going to be basically, the idea here is with weaponry, you'll be able to use one-handed weapons, you'll be able to use 2-handed weapons. It's not like a inherently bad system in vanilla Skyrim and normal Skyrim that those are separated, but realistically, like if you know what you're doing with one-handed weapons, you should at least somewhat know what you're doing with 2-handed weapons and vice versa. They're similar, they're just not the same. So the thing that's kind of weird in Skyrim to begin with is you can be a master of one-handed and absolutely suck ass with 2-handed, and that was always a little silly, and I feel like it's fine to put them together. Like, oh no, I have more options. Like, who cares, right? And so what'll end up happening here is the perks, anything where a 2-handed weapon should have a better perk, the way it'll work is in the actual technical perk inside of the creation kit, inside of the mod, they'll just have like slightly different values and stuff like that, and I'll be able to put it in the perk descriptions to match. But because I jammed these into one perk tree, we have opened up another perk tree that can help customize your fighting style through stances, which I think is cool. So this is the very beginning. I have just thrown this together. There will be a lot more to it. But the idea we have going here is the default stance will be wolf. It will be simple. The idea being wolves are smart. Wolves can have good offense, defense. They're just good at staying alive, good at doing what they do. Very balanced animal, right? As far as like hunting and keeping itself alive. So I thought this one would just be pretty simple. This might end up changing as far as the effect in the future, but I didn't really want it to have downsides. I just wanted it to be at least a slight buff to start. So stamina costs are reduced by 5%. It's the default, so when you like load into the game, even before you have stance perks and just stances just kind of exist and don't do much, wolf will be your default stance because that's going to be the most balanced of the animals. Then over here we have bear. Bears are going to be tankier. They are going to be heavier, doing more stagger damage, but they're slow. So you also have reduced attack speed, as you can see here. This might be hard to read on YouTube, so I'll actually read all these. Unlock the stance of the wolf. When in the wolf stance, your stamina costs are reduced by 5%. So far, all of these will probably upgrade 4 times. So this will be able to get up to 20% stamina reduction, which would be a big deal. Bear stance unlocks the stance of the bear. When in bear stance, you take 10% less damage and your attacks deal 20% more stagger damage, but your attack speed is reduced by 15%. So slower, but heavier playstyle. These will also be unlocking animations in the future. I'm not sure if they'll come literally immediately from unlocking the first perk, or if it'll come like up here, or getting a little bit deeper into the perk through just leveling multiple layers of it. But there will be different stance animations that you unlock as well. It's not really worth getting those in yet when they're going to change. So Sabercat stance unlocks the stance of the Sabercat. When in Sabercat stance, your attacks are 5% faster and deal 10% additional damage, but your stamina costs are increased by 10%. Again, worth keeping in mind with the balance of literally any of these, if people think any of the things super OP, or it probably won't seem super OP, but particularly OP, this is super early stuff, so it's not really worth worrying about the numbers too much. It's more about the ideas behind them. And then Hawk stance unlocks the stance of the Hawk. When in Hawk stance, your attacks gain an additional 25% chance to crit, but you also take 20% more damage. So the big theme throughout these is these 3 on the left side here. The ones that are not default all have downsides, but they also have upsides that can definitely overcompensate for those downsides. I intentionally made it so because you're unlocking a perk to be unlocking any of these, you're actually getting overall a boost, hypothetically, like attacks gaining more chance to crit than damage that you're taking. This will probably go up. The Hawk's probably kind of bad as it is right now. This will probably either damage will go down or crit chance will go up, maybe a mix of both. Sabercat stance, you're doing faster, more damage, but it's costing more stamina to do it. And then we kind of talked more about the bear already, where you're going to be slower in exchange for those. And then just a little bit of an idea of how they're going to move going forward as we get to our first apprentice perk here. While in Hawk stance, your attacks receive 15% armor penetration. While in Sabercat stance, your power attacks deal 15% more damage. While in Bear stance, you receive 100 additional armor rating and 10% magic resist. Bear stance will also have offensive ones too. This won't just all be defensive, but that was just the first one. And then slow kill, this is a cool one, but it might end up getting changed. When in Wolf stance, your attacks apply a bleed over 10 seconds. Bleed damage varies based on weapon type, and this effect stacks. So, and it'll have more specific numbers for you to follow along with too. But this one, the idea is like wolves are very smart hunters, right? So I thought the idea of doing, and the idea of the stance to begin with is kind of to, I don't know, outsmart your enemy. Like I want each of these to match the animal type, but I'm not sure if I want to apply bleed to a stance itself. It's like, it's something where it could be cool. It could make the stance feel fun. It could also be a little bit dumb. So this one is probably the least sold out of any of these ones so far. These all I feel like definitely make sense, can stay as they are. The wolf one might not stay as a bleed. So let's finally move on to weaponry. This is a just straight up custom perk overhaul I was building for the one-handed stance that I'm now planning to make both one-handed and two-handed, and it will have descriptions to match and effects to match. So yeah, there's a lot. I literally made all of this. There's a lot of stuff. Most of these are in the game. Most of these actually do things. One-handed mastery is your starting point. This is where we start actually looking at the proper balance of how the list will be feeling down the road. And you'll be able to notice there are a lot of perk points to invest. There are small benefits to each perk overall, generally speaking. That is intentional. The idea, like I talked about in my first showcase, is to make it so that Skyrim has a smoother progression in terms of perk scaling, but that perks are still fun, rewarding, and interesting to invest in. Some perks will be more so simply damage boost. Some perks will unlock new things for you to do, as far as like we already saw with the agility tree, like unlocking your different power attacks and stuff like that. So lots of different stuff like that in mind. And these perks eventually will also be distributed to enemies where it would fit as well. So they will scale similarly to you based on their level, based on their playstyle, stuff like that. So normally in vanilla Skyrim, you get these 5 perks pretty much exactly like this, but it goes 20% per rank up to 100%. With this is 10% rank per rank to 50%. There will be other perks that'll potentially increase damage as well. I'm also planning to increase damage that you get from leveling the skill to begin with. I don't remember what the actual number is in vanilla, but it just kind of always feels bad, where generally speaking in vanilla, if you level a skill, it mostly just matters for the perk. It doesn't matter for the skill itself. One thing that is planned for, I guess, basically just every skill tree, mods, I'm pretty sure mods like Ordinator already do this too, because my perk overhaul might just go over the top of Valkyrie or Ordinator and just replace the specific perk trees I work on. I'm not sure if I'm going to replace every perk tree. That'll be an insane amount of work. I mostly just have a certain amount of vision for the melee perk trees that I want to overhaul and kind of do new things to, melee and tank perk trees. But yeah, it's going to scale slower, be more progressive. I think there might have been a point that I lost right there. I don't remember what I was talking about, but that's the idea we're going for here. So this one's pretty simple. Oh yeah, that we're going to have like just leveling weaponry to begin with is going to increase your one-handed and two-handed damage faster than it would in vanilla. I don't remember what the number is. I don't remember if it's like 25% total damage or whatever, but it'll probably be like literally at least doubled compared to vanilla, where just leveling a skill matters, even if you don't put perk points in it. So ambidextrous, if we're going dual wielding, while dual wielding weapon damage and attack speed is increased by 10%. And then this is kind of a thing that is yet to be in yet, but I'm planning, is I want dual wielding to be nerfed to start. So this is kind of unlocking your ability to effectively dual wield. So weapon damage and attack speed are reduced by 20% to start in SkyRend. The idea being that I also want to specifically make it so, like I might change my mind on this, but potentially just making the left-hand weapon do less damage. But I want to make it so that like dual wielding can get pretty silly, especially with MCO, where you can get attack animations. Well, with MCO and precision, I guess I should say BFCO since that's what we're using. You can just kind of get 2 attacks depending on your attack animation, and it's just like similar or same attack speed, and it's silly. So to start, I want dual wielding to be less effective than it is normally. And then you can go into this to not only make it so that you're actually completely effective dual wielding, but even a little bit more effective dual wielding as you kind of master it, is the idea, over multiple perk points. And then the follow-up right now is landing unblocked attacks while dual wielding increases attack speed by 2% for 5 seconds. This effect stacks. This might end up being longer than 5 seconds. The idea just kind of being like a flurry of blows and continuing to just rapidly pummel an enemy. So let's look at the actual weapon perks. These are going to end up potentially changing a little bit between types. This one is simple enough, it'll scale just fine between one and two-handed, but swords and daggers, and that would include great swords, have an additional 10% chance to crit, scaling 3 times into potentially 30%. If we head over here to war axes, this would do more damage for battle axes. Attacks with war axes inflict a bleed, dealing 2 damage per second for 5 seconds. This effect stacks. This can seem kind of sleeper. Although I guess with vanilla numbers, it doesn't seem as sleeper. I'm going to be changing weapon numbers eventually as well. But this is like a 10 damage bleed. Actually, realistically, pretty good in the early game even to begin with. The effect stacking is a big deal. The bleed I didn't want to last super long. Normally, I think in Ordinator, I think at least one of the bleed perks takes 30 seconds. Yeah, I don't want that. I want the bleed to be kind of quick and clean and more reliable. And then maces getting, at least for now, their normal kind of vanilla style of ignoring armor. And as it says here, not sure if it stacks, got to test. I got to make sure. I'm pretty sure with the technical like perk entry point I'm using, I don't think actually stacks the effect. I think it just simply works as is, but I still got to science it a little bit. And then I guess we can head over here to the left side. This is for spell blades or just somebody that doesn't want to use a shield. So while wielding a one-handed weapon in your right hand and no shield or weapon in your left, your damage with one-handed weapons increased by 10% and your blocking by 5%. The idea of this perk tree is to basically just improve one-handed damage, improve your defense using whatever weapon you're using as far as blocks and stuff like that, and just make you more effective because you're focused on that one weapon rather than 2, rather than a weapon than a shield, you know, whatever it may be. So good for spell blades, good for somebody that just happens to want an empty hand if you want to play that way as well. And then duelist, when wielding a one-handed weapon in your right hand and no shield or weapon in your left, landing an unblocked attack increases damage by 3% and attack speed by 1% for 5 seconds. And this will be stacking up again and again, similar to Flurry on the right side, so that you can just kind of continue to pummel somebody as long as the attacks are unblocked. Some of these you might notice some inconsistencies. Oh wait, never mind. This probably was an inconsistency and then I fixed it. Landing unblocked attacks. Yeah, I didn't remember that I'd actually set it to unblocked for that. So let's go down the middle. Power attacks. This is going to see, you're going to see some similarities with agility. And that's because I was working on this already. And then I came up with the idea to start building the agility tree and move those over. So these will probably get replaced into other things, assuming I want to continue to go that route with the agility tree. But power attacks cost 10% less stamina. You can perform a forward power attack. This one is kind of an endurance, kind of an agility, a little bit mixed. So this will probably get taken away and something else will be done instead. Serpent Strike and Bear Rush are both similar to agility perks. But here, we're starting to get things that will stay in as we get deeper down the perk tree, which is Furious Strength, power attacks deal 15% more damage. Spot Weakness, landing an attack while an enemy is attacking, drawing a bow, or casting a spell deals 25% more damage. Onslaught, repeated power attacks deal an additional 15% power attack damage, and this effect can stack. So basically just continuing to power attack somebody is just going to continue to buff your damage. Assuming you have the stamina to do it, this can get very strong, and that's why it's a late game perk. And then Become Death. I have a really cool idea for these in general. I'm thinking about making master perks a variety of options that you pick one from, making it kind of class-based. So I think there will probably be like 3. Because the thing with this is like, it's potentially a really cool perk. When you kill an enemy in battle, gain 10% damage and 3% attack speed for 60 seconds. This effect stacks. So the idea is you're just kind of going on a rampage, you know, blood-soaked, badass, just like, you know, just continuing to dumpster enemies as you go and getting stronger and stronger in the process. This is cool, but I feel like it doesn't necessarily fit every playstyle, every concept of character. And it could potentially be a little bit of a weird concept. Like, you know, if you're going for like a paladin or something, maybe you feel weird about the idea of getting Become Death or something, even though otherwise it would be a perk that you'd want. So I think I'm going to make multiple master perks and lock them off from each other, which is easy enough to do, where it's once you have one, you can't have the other. And then I can just put in the description to make sure people know that, and have something that'll be, you know, just a little more variety. So this one can be kind of the murder frenzy perk, and there can be one that's a little simpler and cleaner. Maybe one that's a little more tailored to some other play style, something like that. That was a lot of talking. I think that kind of covers where we are at with the perk overhaul. A lot of this is conceptual. A lot of this has just been me laying it out over the past few days here. And only probably 20% of those are actually implemented. Although also something like 70-80% are easy to make, and I just need the time to do it. It hasn't been too long that I've gotten to work on it here. So I got a little document to remember what to talk about. Ooh, another major thing that is in, this might be a little too tall for me. It didn't look as cool right there, but it's normally pretty cool. Sky Parkour is in, a mod that recently got released. And I've gotten a few additions onto it. I think there are still a few little tweaks I need to make to it, probably to make it so that less often a marker is showing up. Check this out. How cool is that, man? So Sky Parkour is very clean. I'm ideally going to have... I'm not putting improved camera into this quite yet because I know it can be buggy, so I don't want to get thrown off by the bugs while I'm still just getting so much stuff implemented. God damn, this is a hell of a scenic shot. Look at that. Look at the grass flying in. If you're in first person right now... Oh, I thought we'd be able to reach that. If you're in... if you're in first person right now, it'll cut to third person, then back to first, which I think will be able to be changed through improved camera. I don't know why it's not wanting to climb this. I feel like I'm doing it dirty, man. Normally it works so just simple and clean like that. I'm probably just trying to do a little too much with my height right now, is really all there is to it. I'm going for bold parkours. But that is in. It's been really just simple and clean. I haven't had any like bugs with T-posing or anything like that so far. Speaking of which, in the first showcase, there was a bug where enemies had invisible heads. That was fixed within like an hour after the showcase. Very simple fix. I just had like a patch that I shouldn't have had. So one of the helmet textures kind of didn't exist, which means if you had the helmet on, then you had an invisible head. So don't worry, the one big bug has been fixed, and was a super easy fix. Haven't had stability issues so far. Hey, stop it. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. We're not really getting into combat here. Let me get my way out of here. All right, so some more additions that we have right now are Wheeler. Wheeler is now enabled in its reskin for the Edge UI. It was something that I brought up last time around. I hadn't bothered getting it in quite yet, so that's now an option. For the moment, I still have the favorites menu, although apparently I think Wheeler has managed to unbind the favorites menu right now, because it defaulted itself to, it defaulted itself to a weird-ass key. I think it was caps lock, and then I'd switch between putting it on Q and G, so for now it's on G. I don't know if I'll have it actually override the favorites menu or not in Skyrim, but love this mod. For anybody that's new to Wheeler, I'm not going to bother doing like a quick showcase of it. It's a really popular mod, so most people should be aware of it. But I guess we can do a very quick showcase of it right here. I just gave myself some potions. And with Wheeler, that's kind of a little example of what you can do with it, where you can quick slot weapons, magic, potions, whatever it may be. And then we've also got ultimate animated potions. Wait, actually, is that what it's called? I think it's ultimate animated potions in. So either through Wheeler, through favorites, or through this is a way to consume potions now as well. So that's been added in as a little quality of life animation. Have not yet gotten first or third person immersive animations for like picking ingredient stuff yet, but that'll probably come in soon. Especially the first ones. I might hold off for a little while because they don't necessarily work with with improved camera, assuming that makes its way into the list. But another while we're here in Riverwood is if we talk to a smith, we've got the honed metal mod in right now. So I can ask for something to be tempered, crafted, or forged. Normally speaking, if you're actually trying to get something made, you're going to want forged. And we can go through, we've got a big list of stuff, which also seems to have done a good job of just including stuff that's been modded in so far as well. So it's going to be based on the smith's assigned smithing level. So we're like, you know, Alvor here is not going to be making like glass or anything or ebony or anything like that. But generally speaking, anything that'd be like hide, leather, iron, steel is going to be craftable. And then I'll probably have to do a little bit of tweaking. Like right here, it's sort of showing down at the bottom. It's kind of showing wolf armor. But also you need the wolf armor to make it, which just comes from, I guess technically it's overwriting the vanilla one, huh? Aside from like the no collar, I think. So maybe that actually would work kind of through the vanilla system, but like that's something where he would not be able to make that. But although the way it's implemented right now, he kind of can't anyways. So there'll be some stuff where I probably got to disable it smith by smith, but it seems to be working well to start, not doing anything dumb. So let's go ahead and head out over to Whiterun real quick. I don't remember if we saw it the first time around. I'm planning on using at least one of the paper maps. Like obviously we've got the quality world map paper map right now. I might switch it over to one of the different ones. So if we talk to Bjorlum here and hire a carriage, this has been overhauled with the carriage and ferry travel overhaul mod, which I like a lot. So this makes it so that you can visit nearby towns in each hold, and then you can specify a hold itself, and you can then choose a town there, and then price is going to vary based on distance, based on safety of the travel, stuff like that. So going to a town in a different hold is going to be pretty expensive. Going to the main city is going to be a little less expensive, and then going to like a town in your own hold will be less expensive than any of those. So really cool mod. I like it a lot. That's something that I just got implemented the other day. So other than that, if we head on down here, okay, it is super foggy and cloudy right now. Lighting is still going to get some tweaks. Again, in the first showcase, I talked about how there were some annoying lighting bugs that I just couldn't see past with Cabbage and pretty much every ENB I had installed that Rudy was doing a better job about. And then in general, I do want to make it atmospheric, but I think it's kind of overdoing some of the atmospheric stuff right now. So right now it's on Rudy, ENB, and Obsidian Weather still. Eventually, ideally, I would like to either switch ENB or switch weather system. I know technically Nat 3 weather is supposed to just be the most superior, but also I think it's a little too bright for what I'm looking for. I want to keep this list looking a lot like vanilla Skyrim, keep it moody, but also keep it looking good. But a lot of the graphical stuff I'm kind of holding off on bothering too much with for now. I want to focus on getting the game systems and more so, because that's what's going to make the list unique. So we've got Hi. I'd rather die. Parkour my way out. All right, get to dying. Get to dying. Do a little dodge on ya. Do a little dodge on ya. Can see a little bit with the dodge system right there. Given, like, you know, the vast majority of the showcase is going to be in the first one, but again, like, there aren't immunity frames. It's space related. So, you know, just make sure you're far enough from the blows rather than just trying to like perfectly time the blows is going to be the thing. This house is normally all fucked up. Now it's not, because it's the hell is going on here. I'll have to fix that at some point. Yeah, normally this house is all fucked up in vanilla Skyrim. We've got the Environ series in, which adds some different immersive stuff throughout Skyrim. It's a really cool series. It's just, I want to say like 8 or 9 mods for stuff that is generally speaking destroyed. And there's a little bit of context normally to why it would be destroyed. And it just kind of stays destroyed the whole game. So this, depending on the circumstances, it'll do something where maybe it's restored to start, and then in this case, when the dragon attack comes to the watchtower is when it burns down, and then eventually it gets restored as well. And similarly, a mod that very much goes along with it because it's related to the dragon attack is Serpa's Watchtower Destroyed, or something along those lines, where the watchtower is not just simply destroyed to begin with. Normally, if you come to this point before you've done the dragon attack in vanilla Skyrim, the whole watchtower will just be fucked to begin with. Makes absolutely no sense. It is wild that it got released in that state. Absolutely crazy. But but that gets fixed with this. And then of course when the dragon does attack, then it gets destroyed. Oh my god! I don't even... Is this a lawless thing? I don't know why we're getting attacked right now. Let me dispose of these bozos. One down. I don't have proper equipment right now, so I'm just torching them. There we go, guards doing their work. We got some scrub back here too. What are we doing? Oh, there you go. He's actually so sneaky, man. That's funny, he actually hid. You guys don't care about this one? It's okay, I got him. Yeah, you're not submitting, man. You're not submitting. That's funny. I wonder if he got spooked because we'd killed the chiefs up there. Yeah, that's I'll have to look at what that... I didn't know Lawless added bandit patrols, but I don't think I've added anything else that would cause that. So I'm assuming that has to do with the Lawless mod, which I'm still not totally sold on. I wanted to at least test with it to begin with. I think the idea of different bandit fighting styles is very cool, and I absolutely want. But I don't know, like here we have 2 bandit chiefs. That's seeming like something we probably shouldn't have. So I might have to configure this personally a little more so. A little baby parkour right there. I might have to personally configure either the Lawless mod or kind of set up something similar on my own, or use, I want to say Heritage is one of those mods that does a similar thing. And I think there's another one I could test out as well. So we'll have to see with that. So aside from those, I think we've got one big thing to go check out, and it might take me a minute. We'll have to see. Let's head up here. Spoilers, this is by far, you guys thought custom perks, you guys thought custom attributes were the cool part of the showcase, were the big implementation? Nuh-uh. By the way, it's not the purpose of this, but while I do a little swim in here... Oh, you guys are too low for me, huh? Yeah, BFCO has... Okay, this is like the worst showcase ever. It was so... when I was testing this before, it was fine, but I think they're like underneath me. BFCO technically has swimming attacks. I don't know if we'll keep them, because I think it ends up feeling a little too goofy and buggy in its current implementation. Not as far as actually landing the blows. That was really just a distance thing, plus they're slaughterfish, so they're small. But you don't get to see your weapon out normally while you're swimming. Maybe I'll have something else that'll do that, but I already have like... I already have immersive, is that what it's called? Immersive equipment displays already installed and everything. So your weapon's not out because it's not a vanilla system. So like you can attack, it's technically out, but it doesn't look out when you're not attacking. And then if I sheath it, as we can see, then it's sheathed now, right? And now we can't attack because it's just like not out. When it is out, you also can't go up and down, at least in third person, which is terrible for swimming. So it's a little clunky, but it might just get disabled if it's feeling too clunky. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention with Sky Parkour, this is a really nice quality of life feature. It might be a better quality of life feature than the normal stuff, is when you're in the water in one of those awkward Skyrim states where realistically you should be able to get up, but you either have to awkwardly scuff jump your way up or you just literally can't and you have to find that little baby slope angle where you can possibly get up. Yeah, now out of the water, you can just parkour your way up. It's so nice. It's worked like every time I have bothered to try it. So, like, maybe there will be certain docks that are too high to be able to reach like that and stuff like that, but water gets really clunky and annoying to get out of sometimes in Skyrim, and Sky Parkour, one of the nice quality of life boosts with it. It's not only just kind of cool mod to begin with, but even in water, you get a big boost there. Oh, baby, would you look at that? So I think this is going to be the only creature mod for a while that I add in, but it was too fucking cute. And I love them too goddamn much to not add them. So I added turtles. This is the highlight of the video right here. I've been a little disappointed so far. Turtles seem like there aren't too many of them, I don't think. This is one of Mihail's mods. Mihail's added just a crazy amount of different creature overhauls. Both little stuff that you'll just kind of see around this kind of miscellaneous, like bird overhauls, cats, turtles, stuff like that. But then also like big enemy monster stuff where like some stuff that's just kind of overhauled to begin with, some stuff that's just brand new. Like you have like new kind of crazy Atronachs and stuff like that. I think some Spriggan stuff. So yeah, turtles are in. There's very few, from what I saw looking at the mod page or like mod description or something like that. It seemed like it's mostly between Solitude and Dawnstar here, out in the water. I'd like to add some more, not like an absurd amount, but at least enough that it like feels like it exists more if I can. Because normally I have to go hunting to find a turtle swimming around somewhere over here. And ideally, I'd like to spread them out a bit. I just thought it was cool, man. They're just too cute. They're too lovable, so I thought I'd throw it in. And you know, it's not like I feel like turtles fit fine in Skyrim. I'm not planning on adding a bunch of dumb stuff, but a little bit, you know, a little bit of stuff on the side that you maybe go searching for, just occasionally shows up, could be cool. So, oh, here we go, even more slaughterfish. So with that said, I think that pretty much sums up the stuff that's really worth showing. Yeah, get to dying. I think that pretty much sums up the stuff worth showing that I've added in. Some small mentions I've added in, like tomatoes, mines, and caves. I just added in earlier this morning. I think another graphical mod I added in either this morning or like the other day or something. So there's some small stuff here and there. Again, LODs are not in, so stuff will still, for a while, stuff will still be loading in like this, because I want to be way more done with graphics before I'm bothering to add any sort of LODs in, other than just the normal vanilla LODs. So some planned stuff that is coming. Big thing that I'm going to be sinking my time into for next week, probably next 2 weeks, is going to be actually implementing all of these perks and adding in more, and then, you know, actually creating the perks that do things to all of these. It's definitely taking some learning. This is my first perk overhaul that I've been doing, so it's been taking some learning. Especially weapon perks can be tedious and annoying, where normally when you're creating a perk, a lot of the time it's like, okay, you need to have this perk beforehand in order, so, you know, so you're not just like immediately grabbing it and stuff out here in the perk tree. So you need that, you need a certain skill level. Those are easy enough. What gets tedious is with this, and what'll happen if I do magic as well, is, okay, do you have this weapon, or do you have this weapon, or do you have this weapon, or do you have this weapon? Are you in this attacking state? There are so many different annoying conditions that I have to throw into every perk, and then I have to go in game and try and test it and make sure it's happening. And then some of these values are really hard to notice, and they're not as immediately obvious. Like one-handed mastery here, it's like, oh, did my damage go up by 10% when I unlock this by this next rank? Oh, great. And then I also have to do stuff where it's like, oh, once you have this perk, you have to disable this other perk. Otherwise, you're just stacking effects and it gets OP and it gets kind of, you know, it starts becoming too much. So lots of conditions. It takes a lot of time to actually build all of these. But that is what I'll be working on over the next couple weeks for the most part, getting weaponry done, getting stances, endurance, and agility. They probably won't be done, but they'll be like heavily implemented. I think should be pretty feasible. I know how to do almost every single thing so far. I think the only thing that I'm not sure about, but probably will be easy enough, is introducing locking and then adding in the forward, sideways, and backwards power attacks. I already know how to do the sprinting. I'm assuming it'll be similar with forward, sideways, and backwards to implement those. So that's going to be happening. Another thing that I want to do, I don't remember if I talked about it yet, is I want to uncap the skill level. So I think I had already talked about it a little bit. So the mod that I'm using to make it so you get extra stamina, magicka, health, whatever you're not leveling directly, when you level up right now, the thing that's giving you those bonus 5 for just leveling up to begin with, where it's just every single stat is just getting a base 5 boost for your attributes, is the Skyrim skill uncap or level uncap or whatever it's called. That has, I think, been out a while, but like the one I'm using is only a couple years old, ported over for like anniversary edition and kind of cleaned up a bit. Normally the reason people use it is to uncap the skill level. With experience inherently caps the skill level. So I got to figure out, I don't know if it's just an easy tweak, if it's an annoying patch, whatever it might be, to make it so that these can unlock and you can potentially get like weaponry up to 150, 200, whatever it may be. I'm not planning on putting perks behind those, but that's just a way where you can continue to progress. I feel like, why not? That's just better, right? Like, why should you be limited? Why shouldn't you just continue to get stronger? Obviously it would continue to get harder and stuff like that to level past those points. I think it's fine. It's not like people are out here hitting level 400 and getting like 1,000 in weaponry or anything like that. So that'll be a cool thing to add in. Other mods that I'm planning to add in soon, NPC dodging I think is going to come in as a little combat AI overhaul. One thing that is probably not coming in unless it feels necessary is mortal enemies. Very, very popular mod for good reason, although I think it's less necessary with modern MCO, BFCO animations when you're giving those to enemies, which I already have. But if we whip out a axe here, the issue with mortal enemies, for anybody unfamiliar with it, the way that it works is for enemies is the idea for it, but it also has to affect the player. It makes it so that turning radius is slower and attack hitbox is smaller. And basically the idea is normally in vanilla Skyrim, if you're getting power attacked by an enemy with vanilla animations, or attacked in general, but it's really where it stands out as power attacks, like forward power attacks and stuff, they can kind of lock on. So like maybe you're dodging around them, they can kind of maneuver like this. I guess it's not really standing out as much here. It's going to be kind of hard to showcase it since we don't have the vanilla third-person animations to look at. But that's something that can be pretty problematic, especially when it comes to like dodging and stuff like that we're adding in. But with BFCO animation shouldn't be too much of a problem. What gets tricky is when you add in mortal enemies, it also slows player camera speed. So right now I don't have it in. I can attack very fluidly. It's not a problem. I can turn around if I want to. And first person still feels good to aim in. It doesn't really matter in third person. With mortal enemies, these maneuvers where I'm swinging like 90-degree angles are like this. It's so little turning speed. It is absurd. It feels really bad. So I don't think that's going to make its way into the list unless it literally feels like a necessity, or if I feel like I can patch it up so it doesn't do the thing that it's done like always and forever, which I don't think will be possible. So that probably won't come in, but it probably won't matter. Just kind of relating to enemy AI combat and stuff. And then the other things that I'm planning to work on next week, next 2 weeks, is city and town overhauls are going to be getting implemented. So Whiterun, Dawnstar, Riverwood, all sorts of different stuff, small towns, big towns, will be getting overhauled to various degrees, probably using Cities of the North, probably a little bit of red bags. Not entirely sure, not super familiar with a lot of the mods. Almost definitely, God, I actually can't think of the name of it right now. There's a specific one for Winterhold that is almost definitely going to be getting implemented. But it's different than the others. Is it just Great City of Winterhold? But whatever one makes it just look like a huge ruin, kind of, is going to be what's going there. I think it's such a cool mod, and it really makes Winterhold what it's kind of supposed to look like in lore, instead of just like a few cabins. And like, oh shit, broke. And it's like, okay, but like, where is it on the ground where it supposedly broke? Well, it's down there. I don't know. So that's a really cool overhaul that'll be going in as well. And finally, the next big system that I'm planning to work on, because it actually shouldn't be all that hard. It'll be a decent amount of work, but it shouldn't be perk overhaul level work, is we're going to be overhauling armor like I talked about. So I'll be diving in to Xedit and making a bunch of changes there. So generally speaking, the game plan is to make it so that starting hide armor, a full set of that, will probably give you an inherent 20% armor rating. 20, yeah, probably 20, 25%. Leather would be like 30%, 33%. And then parkour our way up some stuff. So iron would probably start at like 40%, maybe 50%. And then also eventually we'll be adding movement penalties that stand out more with heavy armor. And then eventually, I'll have to kind of feel it out, but eventually like getting to just straight up dragon bone armor set, probably 80%, something like that. And then maybe with a shield 90, but that's going to be, you know, farther along. I think I'll start with the values that we'll realistically be dealing with, kind of feel it out, and then go from there. And then to go along with those, because that's going to give some enemies so much armor, also adding in systems for armor penetration is going to happen at some point as well, but I'll bother dealing with the actual armor ratings first. So I think that's kind of a summary of where we're at and where we're headed with the mod list. There's still other stuff beyond those, for like week or two of what I'm planning to work on that'll be coming at some point later in time. But for now, I don't really think it's worth diving into all that stuff because there's already plenty of work ahead of me. I don't need to get super far into the future with it. But because I've been doing these custom overhauls the past week, and because I'm planning to work on those the next couple of weeks at least, realistically think it'll probably be a couple months at this point until there's like a proper test version that I'll put up at the list. I'll have to feel things out a bit. But it's probably going to be a while before we're seeing like an open beta or anything like that, just because there are so many different systems that I need to get in place first. Where originally I was thinking that could come over time. Now I'm thinking it'll be more of a core part of the list. So it'll probably be a while before it's testable, but for anybody that is going to be interested in it, I'm still planning on doing these weekly showcases and showing, how things are coming along and different stuff like that, whether it's graphics, whether it's combat systems, whatever it may be, whether it's just miscellaneous stuff. Showing the progress that we make week to week and the progression of the list, some of the ideas that come along and stuff like that. But thank you all for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one.
I've been seeking for the glory. Say my name. And I've been trying to write my own story in the search for fame. I'm sitting here in this empty room, walls keep tumbling down.